What if your belly fat isn't stuck because of what you eat, but because of when you eat? Now, before you roll your eyes and click away, hear me out. Because the people I see struggling the most with belly fat usually aren't eating donuts for breakfast. They're not crushing fast food every day, and they're not lazy. In fact, they're usually the people trying the hardest. They buy the healthy foods, the protein bars, the smoothies. They even do meal plans and take supplements. And somehow, their stomach never changes. Their energy crashes, their cravings get worse. And every year they start wondering, maybe I'm just getting older. But what if the problem isn't your age? What if the problem even isn't your metabolism? What if your entire day is simply built backwards? Crazy idea, I know. But later in this video, I'm going to show you the exact source of your nighttime cravings and why they're being created long before the sun ever goes down. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Because the truth is, most people don't have a discipline problem. They have a structure problem. Oh, and by the way, I put together a free guide called the 10% Tactic that helps people solve this exact problem. You don't need it right now, but just remember the name for later. Because by the end of this video, it's all gonna make sense. Now, today I'm gonna show you a principle that I discovered when I was in college that completely transformed my body and life forever. And it's the principle that I use to transform 255 plus lives and counting. This principle is called the 3-2-1 principle. It's not a diet or a hack, and not another extreme fitness trend. It's a rhythm and a structure, a way of living that gives your body exactly what it needs, when it needs it. And when you get this rhythm right, fat loss will start to feel a whole lot easier. Now, let me ask you something. What does your morning look like? Like, actually, I'm curious. Comment below and tell me what your biggest meal is right now. Is it breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I read every single comment because this tells me exactly where people are getting stuck. But for most people, this is exactly how their eating goes. Coffee. Maybe another coffee. Oh, and a little more coffee. Maybe a protein bar. Maybe nothing at all. Then the day is so busy, lunch rolls around. You eat something quick, something convenient. Then you survive the afternoon. And finally, you sit down at night and tear into the biggest meal of your day. Sound familiar? Here's the problem with that. Most people are eating like they're trying to fuel tomorrow instead of today. Think about a fireplace. Would you wait until the fire's almost out to try to start throwing logs on it? Well, maybe some people would, but obviously that's not the way to do it. Most of us would feed the fire before it dies out. But my point is, most people eat like that dying fire. They starve their body all morning, underfuel it all afternoon, and then they overload it at night and wonder why they struggle with cravings. They wonder why their energy crashes, and they wonder why belly fat stays. And here's the craziest part. The thing that most people blame on willpower is usually a scheduling problem. Now, I'm going to show you how most people's breakfast issues are secretly creating their nighttime cravings. Once I explain this, it's all going to make sense. Now, let's go back to that 3-2-1 principle that I was mentioning. It shows up in 3 ways: nutrition, fitness, and recovery. These 3 pillars control everything about what you're looking for. How fast you lose belly fat, how you feel, how you look, your focus. Here's pillar number 1. If you're looking to lose so much belly fat it feels like cheating, you have to eat like this. The 3 represents 30%. That's 30% of your intake at breakfast, another 30% at lunch. The 2 represents 20%. That's how much of your daily caloric intake you should be having at dinner. Now, the 1 represents the remaining 20%. It's 10% of your intake between your breakfast and lunch as a snack, and then the other snack comes between your lunch and dinner. Now, before someone jumps in the comments, I'm not saying these exact numbers are magic. The numbers represent a structure, a rhythm, a way to front load fuel when your body actually needs it. Because most people do the exact opposite. They eat 5% at breakfast and then like 20% at lunch, and then the remaining 75% at dinner. They're eating completely backwards, and science is actually starting to catch up to this idea. In 2024, researchers posted a review in JAMA Open Network. This review looked at 29 randomized clinical trials, and what they found was fascinating. People who consume most of their calories earlier in the day generally experience much better weight loss outcomes than people who push them off later into the day. Think about that. Same body, same food, different timing, which led to a completely different outcome. Why? Because your body isn't a calculator. It's a clock, and most people are ignoring the clock. Now, this next part might completely change how you look at cravings, because as I mentioned, your cravings usually aren't created at night. They're actually created earlier in the day. Now, let's say you skip breakfast and then you eat a small lunch, and then you push through the afternoon. What do you think happens at night? Your body starts collecting. It starts demanding the fuel that it needed 6 hours ago. That's why so many people say, I do great during the day and then lose complete control at night. No, you didn't lose control at night. You built the craving all day. And this exact issue is one of the first things I address inside that 10% tactic that I mentioned earlier. Because most people think cravings are random, and they're not. They're 100% predictable. And later in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why. You see, the nighttime version of you isn't weak. The nighttime version of you is underfueled. That distinction changes everything. And that leads me to my next thing that people completely eat backwards. Protein. Tiny breakfast, tiny lunch, and then a huge steak dinner. And then wonder why they're struggling to build muscle. Here's the reality. Your body does not build muscle for one huge dinner. It builds muscle from repeated signals. Think about it like watering a plant. You don't dump 7 days worth of water on a plant on Sunday and then expect it to survive. You water it consistently. Your muscles work in the same way. Researchers studying muscle protein synthesis found something very interesting on this topic. They found that spreading protein intake throughout the day actually stimulates better muscle building signals than eating all your protein late at night. Breakfast says, protect muscle. Lunch says, keep building. Dinner says, recover. Your body responds to repeated signals, not one giant protein avalanche before bed. And that's important because muscle is your metabolic armor. Muscle gives your body a place to put energy. It improves insulin sensitivity and increases metabolic demand. And protecting muscle becomes increasingly important as we age. Now, this next section is where most people lose the fat loss battle. Not in the gym or the kitchen, in the bedroom. This is the second 3-2-1. 3 hours before bed, stop eating. This is actually the point I get the most pushback on. How close to bedtime are you eating right now? Within an hour, 2 hours, or 3+ hours? Let me know below. Anyways, to the 2 hours before bed, you want to stop consuming fluids. And 1 hour before bed, no screens, computers, TVs, or phones. Very simple, but incredibly powerful. Let's start with the food. The American College of Gastroenterology recommends not eating within 2 to 3 hours before bed. Why? Because your body is supposed to be recovering, not processing another meal. Late food intake forces your body to be digesting when it should be repairing. It's like trying to clean the kitchen when someone's cooking in it at the same time. The work just never gets done. Now, let's talk fluids. Better hydration is not drinking a gallon of water at 10 p.m. Better hydration is drinking enough throughout the day so your sleep doesn't get interrupted. Because every time you wake up at 2 a.m. to go to the bathroom, you interrupt recovery, and recovery matters. Because a tired body craves quick energy. A tired body wants sugar and convenience. And a tired body wants more food than it should be having. Now, the phone. And I know this one hurts us all. Even I'm occasionally guilty of this. But you gotta understand your phone isn't just entertainment. At night, it becomes a biological signal. The National Sleep Foundation actually warns that light exposure close to bedtime can interrupt melatonin release. In simple terms, the phone is basically telling your brain, hey, the day isn't over. So your brain stays alert and you end up falling asleep a lot later than you should. So you sleep worse and then you wake up tired. And the cycle starts over and over again. And this brings me to the third and final 3-2-1. It's all about the training. This is where most fitness plans completely fall apart. Because even if nutrition is perfect, your body still needs a reason to change. And most people are trying to punish themselves into results. But the body doesn't respond well to punishment. It responds to stimulus. This is why my recommendation is so simple. 3 heavy strength training days, 2 high intensity, high volume days, and 1 active recovery day. And of course, 1 real rest day where you're not doing anything crazy. The heavy lifting day builds and preserves muscle. The high volume intensity days improve your metabolic conditioning. And the active recovery day helps your body heal while staying mobile. This is important because your body does not change from effort alone. It changes from effort and then recovery. Stimulus, recovery, adaptation. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's how transformation actually works. Not endless cardio or beating yourself into the ground or trying to sweat away bad habits. So now let's put everything together. Most people are trying to lose belly fat by doing more. More cardio, more restriction, more suffering. But what if the answer isn't more? What if the answer is better timing? This is why the 3-2-1 principle works, because it gives your body what it needs, when it needs it. Fuel early, protein often, intensity in training, proper recovery at night. That's it. Not starvation, not suffering, not black coffee until noon, not trying to survive on motivation. Just rhythm. A rhythm your body can actually repeat. And remember, your metabolism adapts to what you repeatedly do. So, if you repeatedly skip breakfast, eat most of your food at night, sleep poorly, and train randomly, your body adapts to chaos. But if you repeatedly fuel early, eat protein often, train with purpose, and recover deeply, your body adapts to structure. And structure beats motivation every single time. If you want help implementing this, remember I have a free guide called the 10% Tactic. It's the fastest way to start fixing the structure mistakes that are keeping you stuck. If you want to start losing belly fat this week, you can grab it through the link in the description below. And if this video hit home, make sure to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your feedback on this video, and if it helped you realize you don't have a motivation problem. And if enough people ask for it, I'll make a full video breaking down exactly what I eat while following the 3-2-1 principle. Until then, see you on the next video. Stay fit, stay blessed.